All right. Welcome back, everyone. We're joined now by Deepak, also from QuickSight. So I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hey Nathan, hey Kunal, hi everyone. This is Deepak Murthy. I'm a product manager with QuickSight. Happy to be here. This is my first AWS on here.
Well, welcome. We are excited to talk to you. We got a little preview taste of QuickSight and saw the power that it had for pulling in data from a variety of different places, gluing that data together, and making it easier to access. Um, what are you announcing today for QuickSight, and what should we be aware of?
Yeah, super excited to be actually talking about a new ML powered capability that we are launching in QuickSight. It's called Q. But before that, we actually announced QuickSight Q in 2020 reInvent. We have been in private preview for about a year now, and I'm absolutely excited to be announcing that we are in GA. So you now have the capability to actually ask questions in natural language in QuickSight and get answers instantly. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today.
I just want to quickly mention we do have a survey. So if you take a look at the chat, feel free to click on that link. I would love to hear from you for that survey. Thanks for putting it on screen. And we also have subject matter experts in the chat as well. So feel free to ask your questions there. We'll have either Nathan or myself and our guest or one of those people answer those questions. Awesome. So I'm excited to get started with this. Where should we begin, Nathan?
Let's start with the name Q. Can I say that's an awesome name? I love the idea of I can just ask Q and what my data is. So my understanding is there's a machine learning aspect here. I understand that we have natural language query capability. What does that mean for me as a user when I have my data inside of QuickSight? What does it mean to use natural language to query it?
Yeah. So let me talk about it a little bit. What Q means and what problems it solves, right? So like my colleague talked about QuickSight. QuickSight is actually the first BI service that was built for the cloud. It actually offers seamless capability for scaling and a bunch of pricing options that just works appropriately for whichever type of setup you have. So with Q, as we continue to talk to our customers about, hey, what problems can we still solve on their behalf? In most traditional BI models, we started seeing the data practitioners of QuickSight are actually kind of being on a constant chase mode where they have to keep catching up on ever-growing data needs of organization to keep spinning up new dashboards and reports. Whereas on the other side, who are consumers of these dashboards and reports, are also constantly not satisfied about the speed in which they can actually get access to insights, right? So you're in this mode where we have this amazing capability with a ton of visualization options and so on, but data as such is so fastly evolving with organizations. We wanted to actually sort of solve this problem of, hey, how do we enable and empower QuickSight authors with more capability to empower their end users with a way to ask questions about their data without really having them to work to enable each one of these. So, you can think about it as an author. If you have a dashboard and report, you can now with Q actually launch a topic which works out of the data set, and you've instantly empowered your users to be able to ask any questions and in absolute plain natural language English on that data set and get answers as a visualization within seconds. This entire workflow, is now sort of set in motion where neither of these parties are actually dependent on each other. And that really is the problem that Q solves.
Deepak, I feel like this is one of those topics that requires a demo, right? I feel like we can just jump into that demo right now. And then you did use the word topic. I want to talk a little bit about what that means as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be happy to show around the demo. But before jumping right into it, currently QuickSight authors create things called as dashboards and reports, which has been the most traditional way of enabling data to their end users. So with launch of Q, they can actually create something called as topics. You'll see this left-hand topic navigation bar on your QuickSight. You have access to looking at how to create a sample topic. We have bundled this in. I strongly encourage you to go through this. But really, topics is just another way to actually surface your data to your end users. You just go ahead and create a topic, and your end users can actually start asking questions about your data. So in this case, jumping right into the demo, Nathan and Kunal, if that's okay. In this case, I can ask questions like, hey, what is total sales by region? And immediately I'm using a sales data set, which is the same data set that you saw previously that Shailesh was showing, wherein you have all of these sales details and data sets. But take note that I did not actually create a dashboard or a report. I've actually created a topic and I've plugged that data set in right in, and my users can just simply ask questions in plain language and get answers instantly. Maybe I want to change this question to say, I want to see what are the top products by sales. And you'll notice Q can not only interpret your question, it can identify the intent behind the question and then quickly bring up the right visualization.
Okay, this is amazing. I right away, what I don't see here is I don't see column names. I don't see SQL. I don't see where select from products, rank, rank descending, order by by sales number. This is actually natural language. This is how I think about the problem.
Yeah, totally. I mean, also note that I think we've all so far along the journey, whenever people want to work with data, that's the default place that they start with. Hey, what is the column name? Like, what should I be writing in the query? I mean, like, the way we want to sort of solve that problem is like empower more people to be able to get those insights without really having to know or learn any new technical language. Just imagine if you have readers who have no such knowledge about SQL or any such technical expertise. All you really need is to know exactly what question you want to ask your data.
This is great. So just in case, if you misspell something, that doesn't change anything, right? Like, let's say I misspell something, would I still be able to access
Absolutely.
data?
Yeah, I mean, it's got just sheerly because it's an MLPAR capability and it's got all of these deep learning algorithms built into it. It can quickly sort of help you not even have to remember exactly what is the column name or what is exactly the way your product is spelled. Now let's try that out and see what happens here. I want to say, let's see what are. You can even see as I'm typing in here. You can even see as I start typing in here, Q actually automatically suggests those columns that are matching. So I can, as an end user, I can just quickly pick those up and run with it. It will notice that you have these questions. You'll notice that it will give you by the exact values that you asked for. I actually didn't put in the right spelling mistake. I'm just going to try that out now.
So there's a question that just came in as to whether can I change the type of chart. So obviously a sale by category, that might be something where I want to see like a pie chart of sales by category. Is that something that QuickSight can do as well?
Absolutely. Before I could jump into that question, that's a great question. But you can see here, Kunal, getting back to the question where you actually have a misspell here. I just misspelled sales. But you can see how it can actually just pick it up and map it right back into sales. Again, it goes back to how can you actually get your data to more people who are not as close to it as you are, but still enable them with all of these great insights that gets to enable their business. So on the visualization, actually, Cube supports all the visualizations that QuickSight already does. Once you see an answer, you can quickly go here, change the way your answers are stacked. You can change it into different chart types, different visualizations. Q automatically already pulls up the right appropriate visualization without you having to do this most of the times. But as you know, visualizations are pretty close to what people wanted to look for them. So you can actually change it to any appropriate visualization types that you have here.
This is really interesting, and we touched upon how this is a machine learning capability, and I want to talk a little bit about when you do press enter on one of these results, you see this little option over here saying, or this little thing here, did we answer this correctly, with thumbs up or thumbs down, right? And typically with any sort of ML workflow, you train and then you evaluate, and I'm assuming that's what that's for, right? That evaluation phase.
Yep, absolutely. So, right now, at least as of right now, given where we are in the product, most of this feedback is routed back to the author. But we're soon going to have that included into our models as well. So you can think about being in a situation where if you are an author who's responsible for a topic, you can immediately monitor all activity on your topic. Let me just quickly show you around how that works out. And Q learns from all of this feedback and improves automatically. So that way you can get one set of generic improvements that are happening on the Q product side. And then as an author, you can quickly start reacting to all of the feedback, identifying what went wrong, and obviously evolving with respect to metadata and making necessary changes to your data to say, how can you fix the negative feedback? So there's a full-fledged closed loop in terms of how author can enable data, give it to users, start monitoring what's the performance, and then improving accordingly, obviously along with the machine learning capabilities that Q has.
So I saw in the questions you asked, a lot of the questions you asked had to do with the sort of column names, and I see these synonyms set up here. Does Q also work with the sort of values inside of the rows?
That's a great question. Let's try that out. One of these other sort of legacy traditional behavior that we have seen in most users of BI is to be stuck with exactly what you can refer to in the columns. But with Q, you get this unique capability where you can just quickly ask exactly about the product. Let me take you through this. Like, if I want to say what is sales trend by month for South, you will notice that South is actually an exact value of a region. And Q can actually pick that up. You don't even have to worry about mentioning whether is this a region, is this a state or a city, and how is it stored, and so on. So it can quickly pick that up and even give you a trend by month. You'll see here there's a bunch of operations that are happening here without really the user having to specify any of that explicitly.
That's great. What about like product name? I saw you querying for products earlier. Does it work with product names as well?
It works with absolutely anything that you have in your data. The way you want to think about this is like, most unique string values that are there in your data, you've just enabled all of those to your users. So let's try this one out. Imagine you're in the situation where you're saying, hey, show me top products by sales. And if you want to continue to refine that, let's say there's this one of these top products, and I don't know what that exactly is, but show me sales trend for. As I start typing this, you'll see that now you have this prompt, which is actually telling you what are all the different products that are available to be queried. So I think the way this transforms, we are so excited about this that users now don't have to think, wait, is this a product code? Is this a product description? Like nothing. If you are a Canon sales manager, all you need to know about is what's your territory and what are your products, and you have access to everything that you need.
This is great. I want to also get our audience involved in this as well. If anyone here has anything they'd like to test out on this sales data set, feel free to just put it in the comments, and we'll have it entered in here. I do want to try out something, Deepak. I'm not trying to stump this. I'm just curious. I'm really curious.
Go ahead. I mean, this is a live demo, so we'll see. I mean, depending upon the data, and obviously, I do want to mention this, right? There's a very critical aspect to this about how, like, what is it that requires from authors? How well do they have to curate this data? And that's a very important aspect as well. In order to be able to guarantee a great experience, you need to go through this curation mode. Although it is simple, but it's super critical. Like, you need to make sure that each one of the columns that you are now exposing to your users is well curated. So let's try it out.
That's a good point. I just want to touch upon that. You're showcasing all these columns here. You can include columns over here that you want your users to have access to. You can also, I'm seeing, take that away so it doesn't pop up in the results.
Absolutely. Yeah. So again, another important point, right? So let's take a step back here. When you're actually enabling a data set for free from questions, what are you're really exposing your data set for all possible permutations and combinations, right? So as an author, I want to make sure that any questions that are asked by my users are getting the right answer. So you can see here, I've actually excluded row ID. Yep. And like that's a column that I built for my own purpose, and it's super common, right? We will include things like update timestamp, create timestamp, like many of such columns that are just required for technical purposes has no value for my end users, and in fact could even corrupt, because a lot of times these may actually start being suggested as possible matches. So you want to actually exclude all of those out.
That makes sense. And just really quickly, I wanted to see, can we do like exclusions? So can we say that show me all data except, I don't know, a certain, like New York?
Let's try that out. Yeah, it looks like it's amazing. So
wow.
Nice.
So you'll see what really happened here is that you can actually get sales for not New York. So behind the scenes, a few things. One, obviously, we were able to notice that New York is a state, and we are able to link to it. Well, how does the author know, or how do you know whether you can trust this answer, right? Let's take you through that. You click on this top state here that you see on your left-hand side that we try to call as the one which is what explains whether is this really the right answer. You click here, it says note New York, and it's actually filtered by New York. But let's see the condition here, for not New York. So you got sales for every city other than New York.
Wow. So it understood what that question meant, and it turned it into, what I would have to type out as a complicated SQL query to say, select where not equals,
Exactly. Yep.
Yep.
That's amazing. Here's a question. I think this is a little tongue-in-cheek. It says Q allows time travel, but it does make me think, what if I wanted to query based on like a date range or like over a certain period of time? Does Q understand natural language for that?
Oh yes, absolutely it does. It cannot do time travel, but
yeah. 2022 data.
But it can certainly start recognizing. So sales trend for 2020 for, let's say, California. So you'll notice that it can actually pick up cues and identify your intent, and it doesn't really actually give you just like a random visualization or like a text-based answer. It's now giving you a trend, but you notice this trend is sort of not really either monthly or actually daily. So I'm actually gonna go refine this question a little bit and say, all right, if my machine allows me to do that. So you can actually quickly start tweaking these as what you want. Now you can quickly see that it's actually giving you by month. The most important part is that for end users, this means so much power for within themselves, right? Like they don't have to go back to the data teams, to the reporting teams for these insights that they may not have had access to in pre-canned dashboards and reports.
Wow, that looks so cool. I like it a lot. And it makes me think, of all the possibilities of different types of queries that can now be typed with just natural language and get that data. So I think summarizing what we've seen today, we've seen QuickSight making it super easy to pull in these different data sources and glue them together into cleaned up data that I feed into QuickSight. And now what I'm seeing here is the data is all in the system. Now I can have people just typing in normal, questions like they would have type into the search bar, and they're getting results back.
Exactly.
That's great. So now I know our audience wants to know where can we learn more, where we can get started with this.
Yeah, it's out in GA, so just log into aws.amazon.com/QuickSight/Q and get started. You get to start with a team trial, and you should be good to go to explore.
And I put the link up there on the stream as well, so you can follow that as well to get there directly.
Just one more thing for the audience. Feel free, please fill out that survey if you get a chance. The first 50 respondents get AWS credits.
And there's one more little question here I want to get in. Is there a functionality to just speak instead of typing?
That's so some of these are capabilities that we are looking forward to build. Obviously, you can, given how you can actually see how all of these is coming together, you can expect that that's something that we are gonna work on pretty soon.
Yeah, and I bet you could use your operating system speech to text. If you really wanted it right now, do the Operate OS speech to text, and it'll type into the field, and you'll be able to see.
Yep. I think making it more easy, making data accessible for everyone, that's a journey that QuickSight has taken up really seriously, and as you can see, it's only going to continue to improve.
Well, this is exciting. This got me hyped up about QuickSight. I wasn't super familiar going in here, but I've learned a lot about what I can do with it, and excited to try it out. So thank you very much for joining us today, and I hope we answered everyone's questions as well.
I hope so too. It was nice being here. Thank you, Nathan, and thank you, Kunal.
You're welcome. So with that, we will play the outro, and hope to see you all next week when we do the next episode of AWS On Air.
Bye, everyone.